already shared with you, I'm interested in putting into perspective these interconnections. You know, as I said before, in those days, it was impossible to think of online connection. It was impossible to dream about publishing papers that are immediately read around Europe. Even publishing a book took years. So it was very important that these people moved around Europe to share the knowledge with each other. So what I did in the map is I marked the universities where these brilliant minds, the dream team of physics, worked, studied, or taught. And there are some iconic places, of course. For example, let's start from the northern part of Europe. We have the University of Edinburgh. So you just click there, University of Edinburgh, and it will take you to a site where you can see the whatever you want to see. You can visit in your computers the University of Edinburgh, a place where, for example, Madame Curie taught. Apart from France, you can see Madame Curie connected with the University of Edinburgh and at the same place connected to the University in Paris, right? De Broglie also with the Sorbonne in Paris. Of course, here you have the University of Cambridge. People like Paul Diriac, I said, visited Cambridge, worked, studied, explored, researched in Cambridge. Max Born also. So the links in the map are for you to know where they were. If you want to visit the universities, just click the link and you are invited to go into these wonderful. Cambridge is one of my favorites, so I want to have a look at it. So I just show you some pictures from Cambridge. Okay, that's one. Lovely. Whoever wants to go to Cambridge, who wouldn't want to go to Cambridge, right? Beautiful. Okay. So, in this map, in this project, you can look at the different universities, explore, again, Oxford. Oxford was a place for the interaction of people like Schrödinger from Austria to Oxford. He is connected, right? Look at that. All right. And as we said before, Albert Einstein had to flee from Europe. Albert Einstein was a pacifist by nature, but he had the knowledge of the danger of nuclear power and nuclear weapons. He understood fission probably better than anyone else in Europe. So he was also threatened. His life was threatened just for being Jewish. So he had to escape to Princeton, the place where he ended up his life as a teacher. Look at this place in the United States. A beautiful place. I visited Princeton. It is one of my favorite universities in the world. Okay, there you go. A chapel. So Albert Einstein had to join the efforts of the Allies to reach the goal of the atomic bomb before the Germans get there. And when he realized that the Germans were far from getting there, he just resigned to the Manhattan Project. You know, Manhattan Project was directed by Oppenheimer, and also Richard Feynman participated in the project. So these are places in the United States where physics was growing already in the 20th century, the MIT. You can visit all these places. I'm not going to go into each one of them. Cornell, I think Cornell University also hosted Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman was also hosted in Princeton. And of course, Richard Feynman worked in California, in Caltech, on the other side of the United States. So there are now many places in the United States and in Europe that you could visit, and you could probably be interested in continuing your studies. But also the purpose of this video that I'm making here is to open your mind to this part of the world, you know, the Arabs, the Islamic culture, you know, the Indian culture, the Vedanta philosophy, Buddhism, Hinduism, all these religions and cultures that existed in this side of the world many thousands of years before we even had these ideas in Europe. And they were written, same ideas that inspired, the science in the West happened before in the East. To give you an example, in the Islam culture, in the year 1000, around 1000 after Jesus Christ, that is probably 600 years before Galileo Galilei or Newton, there was already a scientific method. Ibn al-Hazm was one of the Arabic masters of science that contributed to our understanding about nature and light and many other phenomena that we know today. And many years before even the birth of Jesus, I would say probably 5,000 to 10,000 years ago, ancient traditions written in the Vedic culture were also the source of inspiration for what we now know as modern physics and quantum physics. So these ideas about what the world is, what reality is, are not just happening and appearing in the 20th century in Europe, but happened and appeared thousands of years before them. And I am planning to show that in the next video, which will have not my voice. It's going to be like a meditation, just music and going through the ideas and the sources of inspiration coming from this part of the world into the mind of these amazing scientists. So watch this space.